It started with a microphone, a basement, and a grieving sister desperate for answers. When 27-year-old Kelly Morton launched her podcast Beneath the Silence, she never imagined her voice would rattle an entire justice system. Her mission was simple: tell the story of her sister, Amber Morton, a beloved kindergarten teacher who was found dead in her apartment in 2018. Officially ruled a suicide, Kelly knew deep down that the story didn't add up. The bruises, the missing diary, the strange behavior of Amber's boyfriend. None of it sat right. So, she did what any true crime enthusiast would dream of. She hit record. But what followed wasn't a story. It was an unraveling. What started as a grieving woman's quest for closure became a firestorm of discovery, one chilling episode at a time. By the time her series hit 100,000 downloads, she had done more than relive the horror. She had exposed a killer. Amber Morton was vibrant, compassionate, and full of light. But on February 17, 2018, that light went out. Her lifeless body was discovered in her apartment with a bottle of sleeping pills nearby and a note that read, "I'm tired. Please forgive me." The police closed the case within 48 hours, marking it as suicide. But Kelly refused to believe it. Amber was planning a trip to Costa Rica. She had just been promoted. She had no known mental health issues. None of it made sense. Amber's boyfriend, Chase Whitmore, was charismatic in public but controlling in private. Kelly remembered disturbing phone calls Amber had made, whispering about how she felt trapped. There were bruises Amber never explained. Friends described seeing her cry more often. Yet Chase was never questioned thoroughly. Kelly's first episode, titled "The Night That Changed Everything," released on the one-year anniversary of Amber's death, got modest downloads. But it struck a chord. Listeners began writing in. One claimed to have seen Chase screaming at Amber outside a bar weeks before her death. Another remembered Amber frantically texting someone, saying, "He knows everything." Kelly began filing FOIA requests. She studied autopsy reports, police files, and compared timestamps. Her podcast episodes transformed into bite-sized investigations. One episode, The Unheard Voicemail, revealed that Amber left a message for Kelly the night she died, but the file had been mysteriously deleted from the official phone records. A digital forensics expert stepped in, helping Kelly recover the audio from the cloud. The episode ended with Amber's trembling voice saying, "If anything happens to me, it wasn't me." Mainstream news picked up Kelly's podcast. The pressure mounted on the local police department. A new detective was assigned. A second autopsy was conducted. Amber had blunt force trauma inconsistent with suicide. Chase's alibi fell apart. He had told police he was in Chicago that night, but traffic cam footage showed his car returning to town. He was arrested 11 days after the release of Kelly's 10th episode. During trial, the prosecution leaned heavily on podcast evidence. Amber's voicemails, Kelly's investigative timeline, and public witnesses who came forward only after hearing the podcast. The defense painted Kelly as an obsessed sister pushing a narrative. But the facts held. Chase was convicted of second-degree murder. The judge credited Kelly's podcast as a critical catalyst that kept the case alive. Kelly turned grief into advocacy. She launched the Amber Project, a non-profit helping victims' families gain access to digital forensic experts, legal advice, and public storytelling tools. She speaks at law schools, works with journalists, and trains families on investigative storytelling. Beneath the Silence continues to air, now covering other cold cases and unexplained deaths, helping amplify the voices no longer able to speak for themselves. Months after the trial, Kelly received an anonymous email with the subject line, "You've only scratched the surface." Attached was a screenshot of encrypted documents hinting that Chase had ties to a local business network known for laundering money and intimidation. The documents included references to a mysterious figure named the Broker, who allegedly paid off officials and kept problematic people quiet. Kelly released a new series within her podcast titled Echoes of Amber. It followed the money trail, political connections, and patterns of disappearances in the area. Local council members began resigning. 2 former detectives came forward with confessions of being pressured to close Amber's case quickly. Kelly's podcast didn't just inspire listeners, it spurred change. Her reporting led to a grand jury investigation into corruption within the county's justice system. New policies were enacted for mandatory forensic reviews in suicide cases involving domestic partners. Kelly met with federal lawmakers to discuss how citizen journalism could be integrated into national efforts for transparency and justice. And most powerfully, she began receiving thousands of emails from families asking, "Can you help us?" What would have happened if Kelly hadn't picked up her MIC? How many stories go unheard because the system fails to listen? Amber Morton didn't have to die for justice to be found. But because her story was told, her name now represents a new kind of power, justice through media. If you or someone you love is seeking answers, don't wait. Use your voice. Investigate. Tell the story. And if you believe media can be a tool for justice, like and subscribe to True Crime Hub. Microphone #share this video to help us uncover the next untold case. Because silence is where monsters hide.